Hello and welcome back. Happy Thursday, everyone. We are going to be doing a dev diary rundown for Millennia, not Victoria 3, which is the 4X game that's going to be put out by C-Prompt Games, published by Paradox, that I have a bit of an interest in, and so we're going to be covering it and talking about it. Now, from this time period, as you might be able to see, this is September 21st. I was not able to find these dev diaries earlier, and now I've since found them, so we're going to be kind of running through them, even though they are kind of backlogged, but I just wanted to mention that Jumbo Pixel does have a, kind of video from the same time period where he got his hands on the game and was able to play it. He goes through a bunch of screenshots. It's pretty interesting, and so if you wanted to see kind of a quick rundown of the game that extends beyond this teaser trailer, which we're going to watch, that might be better for you to watch than this video, because this video we're rolling through a dev diary, and we're going to be talking about, what's... the announcement of the game and also my thoughts on it, this type of thing. And so his video might be a little bit better for yours. If you wanted to look it up, you can just, search YouTube Jumbo Pixel Millennia, and it should be kind of one of the top results. It'll probably be one of the suggested results when we finish viewing this announcement trailer.
As the world is shrouded in uncertainty, the next chapter is yet to unfold. Are we to witness the age of kings? Will we be haunted by plague? Or shall we soar towards utopia? The narrative is yours to claim.
So the ages are dynamic, which I think is really interesting. But we'll get into that later. Alright, and it says... this is the game, wish list now, etc., mostly, etc. And, at the end of this, I'm sure Jumbo Pixels will be one of the recommended one, Millennia's Grand Strategy 4X Civ, my gameplay experience. This is the video I was referring to, and he's played it. Okay, so getting into it, C-Prompt Games, should say a few things about who we are. They are formed from experienced developers. I think they said there are about 20 of them, small teams. There's about 20 people working on Millennia currently, offices in Colorado, not Sweden, so... perhaps we will see a not overpowered Sweden in one of these games. But we are organized to support hybrid remote in-office development, and the team is in numerous other locations, including Texas, New Mexico, Oregon. Okay. At our core, and this is probably, important if you're thinking about how this is going to deviate from games like Civilization 6, we are lifelong hardcore strategy gamers, and we have basically wanted to make 4X since forever. We started Millennia in 2019. It's definitely a labor of love, and we are very excited to be able to share it with you. Okay. Coming from the background of having developed Age of Empires 2, for some of these guys, is very interesting for me, because I really liked that game when I was younger. It's actually still a good game. I still play it occasionally. If you haven't seen anything else about this game, Millennia's new turn-based 4X strategy game that features alternate history, custom tech trees, and deep economy and combat. I'm not too... well, if we're going to it's silly of me to nitpick about, copy, because a lot of these devs, these are the dev diaries. They make video games. They're not like copywriters, but I hate deep as just like an adjective in front of stuff, because I think it's a relative... well, okay, I think it gets overused, and it just starts to not say as much, but anyways, writing aside, the game looks tremendous, so let's continue. We have carried the concept of Millennia around for a long time. Please note my intentional avoidance of a pun here. We don't appreciate those. Make all the puns you want. This is fairly typical of our process. We have tend to have a lot of rough game directions percolating around, and these get worked on here and there until we feel like it's the right time for one of them. In the case of Millennia, a few things have motivated us to make our next game. So these are going to be like key ideas to differentiate it from other 4X games. As a strategy game, developers, 4X is the cornerstone of the entire genre. It's something we love and we wanted to work on. Okay, maybe this isn't differentiating as much. As a strategy game, players, we saw 4X receiving less attention than it deserved. This isn't... well, so I think 4X is, like, had a bit more of a heyday, kind of, before the RTSs, like, kind of took over, like, in the mid... to late 90s and early 2000s, then the RTSs were really popular. I think 4X was like the premium strategy game before then. To us, the amount of obvious player interest was far greater than the number of games being provided and amount of new gameplay being explored. I think that there's only, you know, kind of a few flagship games in this genre that are very popular, so this certainly makes some sense. Certainly, we personally wanted more 4X games, and we talked to a lot of fans who felt the same way. Shortly after we started to flesh out the systems that would become the pillars of Millennia, I think we're going to talk about these in just a second, which differentiated. We really felt the spark. Not only did we see how things could fit together, but we also started to find something unique, something we really wanted to play ourselves. The age model in particular quickly developed into something that everyone saw potential about and was excited about. So, you know, there's various conditions for entering a new age. So like in Civilization, there's like the classical era, the industrial era, and there's this thing. For this, you get ages, and so like when you progress to the next period in time, there will be 3 options, and those options will only be available based on like what you do, and this is what we're talking about with ages. And so this is like what we have, you know, some of these, you know, some of the conditions you need to get these are going to be based on like what you're doing or what you're working on. So this is really interesting to me. They shared a prototype of Millennia with friends at Paradox, and they agreed. So 4X is a large, and the idea is, this is why Paradox kind of picked this up. 4X is a large genre and can support a lot of different experiences. One of those experiences we felt was overlooked was that of player authorship, of feeling like you're the one writing the story. When we played, we often felt like we were leading a nation, and we often felt less like we were leading a nation, or more like we were trying to remember board game rules. And so this is quite a big deviation, you know, or they're talking about the style of play, playing as the spirit of the nation rather than, you know, some board game type thing. So from a very high level, one of our goals was to steer in the direction of a more open-ended, systems-based gameplay to deliver the feeling of being the spirit of the nation. First and foremost, that direction informs a lot of our decisions. So the first pillar here, alternate history. The key innovation in Millennia is the age-based design, and we're getting into it. There are 10 ages in a normal game, ranging from the Stone Age to the near future. Each age provides the experience of the age. The Iron Age has the Iron Age technologies, Iron Age units, Iron Age buildings, and rules specific to the conditions of the age. So here's the idea. There's like an iron era of sorts, but then within that era, you're going to get to select an age. If you keep things within the normal parameters, you might progress through 10 standard ages, each delivering historical gameplay. However, Millennia allows history to go off the rails. If you take some different decisions, you might steer your timeline into alternate ages. These ages are still historically themed, but some are what-if territory. If the Age of Aether is based on a history where internal combustion engine doesn't come out as soon as it did, and steam engine develops further, so we could get maybe some steampunkiness if we enter the Age of Aether instead. The Age of Blood is based on war raging out of control and spreading across the world. We saw like that kind of in the trailer. I'm sure this is kind of, you know, made to represent the Age of Blood. Ultimately, most of the things you have to use in a game come from ages, so that you can end with very, very different scenarios depending on specific history and alternate timeline you move through. And so this replayability is very, very interesting, especially if you're like making, like from my perspective, if you're making content for a game, replayability is like something that's like a little bit rough. It's rough in Victoria 3, where the runs tend to kind of blend together if you're trying to play meta rather than RPing. But okay. So let's take a look. They have another pillar, custom tech trees. And so you will be able to customize your tech tree. And so the UI for this is obviously not very well fleshed out yet. But the tech tree we see here is, and also I don't know what the resolution is on this baby. It's very difficult to read, but the idea is we're going to have multiple choices where we're going to have this infantry tech line, and then within it we're going to have multiple choices. And so we can, you know, choose between maybe spawn Spartans here or units gain experience while guarding. And so military drills versus spawn Spartans, conditioning versus fortification. And so we will have various choices with how we expand our tech tree rather than just, you know, getting all the text. So like the Spartan is the the tech, and then there's like a sub-tech, and then here there's legacy, social fabric points from the Spartan's legacy. I don't know what all that means, and we see that it gets social fabric wildcard, and so this is, you're getting various resource points, and so which are not all going to get covered here, but we've seen in some of the other things we've looked through, as well as the Jumbo Pixel video, which you could go check out. Millennia features a system called National Spirits, and so this might be the spirit, and then within the spirit you unlock the tech. I'm not sure all the nomenclature, or I'm not super brushed up on it, but there's there's decision making. At first blush, there seems to be a lot of depth and decision making that you can do, which of course is probably why they wanted to use the word deep earlier, and I was just like, I don't like this prose, but like, moving on. Think of national spirits as thing a nation can be famous for. Are you people known as great engineers? Is one of your major cities seen as the center of global banking? Does the world feel your unbeatable warriors? Mechanically, each national spirit is a technology tree. So that's what this is here. Our national spirit could be Spartans, and then it's a technology tree with which we unlock various things for the military, and we will not necessarily get every single one of these national spirits, right? And so by going this sort of tree, we get this tree, and then, by going this sort of national spirit, we get this tree for our tech, which will have like a legacy, which will, I assume, means a long-lasting impact. Although I didn't know exactly what this meant from mechanically, and also it's hard to read because the resolution's so low. But you pick national spirits from a set at different points in a game. Doing so makes the technologies in the national spirit available to you. So it's not like Civ 6 where you eventually just get all the techs. Now you are going to have some distinction, and it is also sandbox and open-y in that sense. I haven't seen or read too much about different civilizations yet. Through national spirits, you can customize your nation and decide what you will be famous for during the course of the game. Okay. Pillar, deep economy and combat. There we go, getting deep again. Here we have what is a look at the combat system, which is going to be, you organize troops into armies, and then the armies fight each other. I don't think you actually control the units, and instead it's an auto battler, which is, for me, this is preferable because the AIs tend to be really bad at managing units, and this tends to be like an axis on which you can acquire a huge advantage, unless like the game is all about this sort of AI, and so I prefer it to be like kind of just automatically done. But okay. Economy and combat are key to Millennia. As you lead your nation, you'll need to design the right economy from your strategy. Not all resources in Millennia are the same. Cutting down trees for logs can provide production, much like mining copper. However, with the right improvements, you could create a chain where your logs are made into paper, and then paper made into books, getting you knowledge or religion instead of production. And so you will have to make a lot of choices with your buildings, and we're not going to be talking too much about that in this dev diary, but you will be able to make choices with like what you're building, and what you're building will affect what your future income looks like, and there's like a lot of different branches, and it looks like there is a high degree of complexity and dare I say depth with regard to this. I just don't like it as an anyway. Some resources are like logs, broad and capable of steering a variety of different goods, while others are more focused and less flexible. And so you could be like, hey, I want to go logging because it's flexible early, and you haven't explored enough of the map and like this type of stuff. These ideas and kind of in my mind make me think of play patterns that I think are tremendously interesting, where maybe logs are worse than iron or bronze or copper or whatever at a particular phase of the game, but they're more flexible, and because of this you go the logging earlier or this type of thing. We do it in Victoria 3. How you decide to structure your economy has an impact on your capabilities and your ability to respond to changing conditions. Okay. One of the places this is felt is with combat. The best military for you to field changes based on your economic design and the age that you have moved into and the national spirits you have selected. This all makes sense, but of course it's like vague. You might be better with more production to train troops, or more warfare domain to support them, or more wealth to pay the upkeep of expensive troops, or... And then, ... Beyond the economy, combat offers its own interesting decisions. Different types of units have different capabilities. You design your armies by assigning multiple units to fight together, allowing you to create armies for different different army types for different needs. Okay, so moving around faster might be a need. We do have this little thing where you can see down here, there's little snippets of like the army. It's not visually very, like you see an army over here as well, is visually like not, this is obviously early. I'm assuming it will become more visually gratifying, but here you also see a bunch of other things that are going to be interesting. Like this is the main city center. I forget the exact terminology. This is a village within the same, I think it's a domain, and this is the capital of the domain, and then this is like a settlement for the domain, and so you have a little bit more control over how you are expanding. Obviously this looks like a 4X game, and then here we see under domains, or wait, this is maybe named something else, but under domains, you see that there's government, there's exploration, there's warfare, there's engineering, there's diplomacy, there's arts. You are acquiring all of these resources in this region, and you are able to spend them on various things, and what you build is going to inform how much of these resources you get. And there does seem to be quite a lot of depth. Dare we say depth. Okay, so then they say this is the tip of the iceberg. Millennia is a huge game. The outline above is an introduction, but there's plenty to cover regarding the pillars, plus a substantial number of major systems that we haven't even mentioned, obviously. Over the next few weeks, we will present additional dev diaries to showcase most of the games. We are going to be probably doing an accelerated, version of this, where every few days we're going to go through a few of these until we're all caught up. But to dive deeper into specific features, next up in 2 weeks, or for us a few days, we'll talk about the building blocks of your nation, regions, towns, and outposts. So this is what we were talking about, where this is the region, this is the capital in Izmir, and this is a town, but also a bit about the world map itself. And of course, if this sounds good, please wishlist the thing on Steam and etc. I believe this does help out game devs a lot in regards to what they are able to do or resources they are able to generate, because the ability to show metrics to people who manage how much people are on the team and this type of thing is useful to them. They have a YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Discord if you are interested. And other than that, embrace the chaos.